Hey. How you all doing out there? Let me make sure everything's working. Okay. Sister said, hey, she's what? Oh, there you go. I'm right here. All right. Listen, I wanted to hop on here and do this quick video because I had a coaching client. We had a great discussion, and I figured this is something that we need to talk about because in this space, when we're healing and dealing and healing from narcissistic abuse, there's a narrative that's out there that it's not everybody's narrative. All right, so that's what we'll be talking about this thing today. So if you're new to my channel, I'm Coach Hadassah, metaphysician, minister, emotional health and wellness coach, helping you to navigate this healing space from narcissistic abuse. So let's get into this, and I got some things that I want to pull up and making sure that they are available for me in my notes. All right. So red flags. All right. Did you really miss the red flags or were you deceived? Okay. Um, do you have self-love or you don't have self-love, or do you have low self-esteem, or were you just deceived? Okay. So this is something that we're going to tackle today because, you know, um, having low self-esteem or not having self-love, that's not everybody's narrative. I'm not saying that, some people like, yes, that was what was going on with them, because here's the thing. The narcissists, they choose different people for different things. Okay. We have to realize that they pick out people for what's the word? Utilitarian purposes. Basically, they utilize you for whatever function that they need you for. All right. And there's different types of people that they use. So yes, they will pick out people who have low self-esteem and low self-worth. They usually use those type of people to triangulate others with. But they also choose out people that have I'll say a healthy self-esteem. Okay. They have a healthy self-esteem. They have a healthy self-worth. And they deceive those people in order to be with them, to make them look good for the long haul, right? Like, these are the people that they will marry, that they will get into business partnerships with and things like that. And then they will use other people who they deem to be as beneath them or lower than them. Of course, this is all in their head. Okay. For different purposes, to triangulate. Shoot, they'll use animals. Okay, they'll use a cat, they'll use a dog, they'll use anything or anybody for, again, their purposes. So I want to pick up something from, because I always use the scriptures as foundation. It's not religious. Okay, I want to make that clear. This is not religious. It is, the Bible is just really a compilation of books, a compilation of scriptures where there were people who were very, let's say, in tune, or had a bond with the creator of heaven and earth, the creator of the new heaven and new earth and all that exists. And they were able to hear the Holy Spirit speak to them. And if the Holy Spirit told them, hey, write this down in a book for future generations, that is what they did. And so not only is there, like the Bible, but then there are books that were not a part of the canonized version of the Bible as well. So what we're going to look at, and just picking up how you can see, just like throughout history, throughout the scriptures, how there were different people who were what we would call in these times narcissists, or they had narcissistic personality disorder. But They didn't use those terms at that time. The Bible described behaviors that you would see for those people who, like Paul said, when you see, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna because I have my Bible right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it. It says, okay, I'm not gonna read that one because that's First Timothy, but in Second Timothy, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of their own selves. Now think about narcissistic personality disorder and their behaviors. Okay, lovers of their own selves. They don't care nothing about you. It's all about them. Period. I mean, anything that, if they even buy you a gift, it's not about you. It's about them. Trust me, there are some strings attached to that gift. All right. You're gonna pay for it in your time, energy, whatever. It's about them. Okay, so lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers. Keep that word in mind. Truce breakers, false accusers. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The false accusations and slander. Okay. Now, they will turn around and say, like, say, for instance, say you are speaking a truth about something that the narcissist did to you. Okay. Something that they did or whatever. And I mean, you got proof, facts, evidence, like all of that. Now, because of that, they will want to get ahead of that and start to falsely accuse you or slander your reputation. All right. Because they do know that there are some things that you could speak about them. So they want to get ahead of that narrative. So false accusations, right? So that's false accusers. Incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. They cannot stand good people, but they get good people and they use good people. And those good people will tell you behind closed doors the things that the narcissist has said to them. Like, they will mock a person for being kind and having a good heart and being generous, but at the same time, that is the same reason why they are with those people. They will use good people for their goodness and kindness and generosity, but they can't stand it. But they'll keep you around, right? So despisers of those that are good. Traitors, heady, very conceited, right? Heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yahweh, having the form of worship of Yahweh or the form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Like sometimes these can be very, like religious people. Like, it's a bunch of narcissists in church. I'm not saying that everybody in the church or that's religious is narcissists, but I have a lot of clients that are, church hurt, right? So having a form of the worship of Yahweh, I'm reading from the Holy Name Bible, but denying the power thereof. So when you start, well, I'm not going to get into that, but I've dealt with that myself. It says, from such turn away. It didn't say try to reform it. It didn't say turn away from it, like avoid it. Look, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with various lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. So these are scholarly people, well educated, okay, and everything. Now, as Janus and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth. They do not like the truth. All right. Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith, but they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifest unto all men as theirs were also. So this is a time where, okay, so this is the time that we're in now. This is the revealing of the look, the veil is being torn back, the covers are being taken off of narcissists. It's being revealed. All right. People are starting to see. There are many people that are coming out talking about their experiences with the narcissists and all of it. Look, even narcissists themselves, whether they're going to therapy or whatever, they are even being used to they have platforms, and they're telling people about, like, hey, I'm a diagnosed narcissist and so forth and so on into the night. Now you have those that are working on it, and those that, like, they'll say that they are, look, they still narking, right? But shoot, you give them the platform and people are going to pay attention, because that's what narcissists, they like that. They like that platform, they like that attention. So hey, it's like, well, shoot, if you're gonna spill the beans, what better way to learn about narcissists than from a narcissist themselves? You see what I'm saying? So this is a time of the unveiling. I want to point this out when it says this part of verse 6, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sin. That word silly does not mean foolish. The word silly actually means jovial. Like, a woman that is, we're going to pick this up from the etymology, because I have the etymology right here, and we're not off topic at all whatsoever. I just want to pick this up. So silly, Middle English from the Old English, it means happy, right? Fortuitous, prosperous. Okay. Happiness, happy, the word hap is the root word of happiness, and it just means fortunate. Okay. Blissful, blessed, good, kind-hearted. So silly does not mean foolish. Silly means these things, but so silly women, they lead captive silly women, fortunate women, happy women, blessed women, kind-hearted women. These are the ones that they marry. Right? Those are the ones that they marry. And then they triangulate with the ones that the low self-esteem and don't have the self-worth and all of that type of stuff, because what they want to do is bring the blessed one, the kind-hearted one, the generous one. They want to make that one look like an idiot, or what. I mean, it's just crazy. Okay. It's just freaking crazy. So, as we were, my client and I, and, we were talking about that, because, the thing is, it's like, hey, well, I get that a lot. Did I miss the red flags? Or, I thought I checked the boxes off and I crossed my T's and dotted my I's. And it's like, no, you did those things. You did all of those things. You were deceived. Okay. So let's pick this up. Let me give you a little story about deception. And we're not going to even talk about, like, with Eve in the garden with the serpent and all of that type of stuff, because serpent means to twist. And that's exactly what a narcissist does. They twist the perception and all of these things. Okay. That's what, like, the mind games and all of that. So you have in the scriptures in Genesis, okay, we got Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac was the father of Jacob. All right. So Isaac was married to Rebekah. Rebekah had a brother named Laban. So Isaac told Jacob to go and get a wife from so his mother's brother. Okay, so this was, let me see, chapter, so this is Genesis about like 29, 28 or so. I'm trying to look for the actual scripture. Okay, so here it is. So Genesis chapter 28 verse 2. Arise, go to Padanaram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take you a wife from there of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. Okay, so Laban was Rebecca's brother, which was basically his uncle. Okay, Laban had two daughters, Leah and Rachel. They were twins. You got to pick that up in the book of Jasher. They were twins. So when Jacob went there, he sees Rachel. He loves Rachel. He wants to marry Rachel. So Laban, he's like, okay, he's here and he's working with him and all of that type of stuff. And so he's like, hey, just because you're my relative don't mean that you're gonna work for free. Let me know how much you want to get paid. So he's paying him, and then he's telling him, he's like, hey, I want to marry your daughter, Rachel. Okay. And he said, okay, you want my daughter, Rachel? Cool. Work for me 7 years. And then after the 7 years, I'll give you my daughter, Rachel. Okay, bet. He works for him for 7 years. After the 7 years, time is time. I want my boo. All right. I want to work for Ray. I want, he get his wife. So back then they didn't have, when you go down to the courthouse and get the papers and, all of that, marriage has always been and will be the consummation of the sexual act. Okay. The sexual act, that is the marriage. All right. Hey, I didn't make up the rules. That's what it is. So they had the wedding celebration, which was that, the ceremony where they come together and whatever they in their culture and how they go about doing that, and they celebrating and they drinking wine and all of that type of stuff. It just basically shows that, and that they're showing the public, the community, the public, this is the man, this is the wife. So everybody know who is who. This is this man's wife. This is this woman's husband. Everybody done celebrated. Everybody is a witness to it because we out here getting drunk, all of that. And then once all of that is said and done, they go into their marriage chamber, which is the bedroom, and then they consummate the marriage. And then, of course, with the breaking of the hymen, when through the act, the custom is that they take the bed sheets and they'll have a little blood on it. That's the covenant, and you give the bed sheets to the father to show that, hey, like when you go to the store and you have that package, the seal, so that that it hasn't been tampered with, right? And you crack that seal off, and then boom. So that's what the marriage, those sheets were. He gave the sheets. They would give the sheets to the father, like, hey, it wasn't tampered with. You gave me great goods or whatever. Okay, boom. There's that. So what happened was, because Leah and Rachel were twin sisters, he could tell the difference between the twin sisters by their eyes, right? So again, it's nighttime, it's dark. They'd been drinking because they were celebrating. Laban sends in Leah. So they do the do. They wake up the next morning. He look. It's like, wait a minute, this is not this not her. This is not her. So he goes to Laban and he's like, hey, like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? What did you do? Like, this is is not Leah. I mean, this is not Rachel. This is Leah. Laban says, well, it's not our custom to give the younger daughter before the older daughter. Work for me another 7 years, then I'll give you Rachel. Jacob is like, well, why didn't you tell me that from the beginning? Deception, right? Because he said, why did you deceive me? He said, well, it's not our custom. What do you mean it's not our custom? Why didn't you tell me that up front? Okay. And now that wasn't the only time that Laban was deceptive. So, of course, Jacob worked for him another 7 years. So that's 14 years. And now then he gave him Rachel. So now this man got 2 wives. He wasn't going for 2 wives. He wanted the one wife. But because that's what happened, now he got to take care of both of them. You see what I'm saying? And so then fast forward, he was doing all kinds of little deceptive things. And so, when the time came where he sat down and he talked to them and he was like, listen, y'all father has done me, he's done me dirty plenty of times. Yahweh kept blessing him though. He kept blessing Jacob. But because Laban saw the blessings that Yahweh would bless him with, he was trying to keep Jacob there because Yahweh was blessing him. But because, of course, Jacob was there with him, if Yahweh has one of his among you, you're going to be blessed because he's blessing that person, right? Or those people. All you got to do is treat them well. All you got to do is treat them well. They won't go nowhere if you treat them well. But narcissists don't know how to do that. So they are going to be deceptive and all of that type of stuff to keep the person or people around, but they don't know how to treat them because they're inherently, they have this deep rooted, at their root is shame. At their top is pride. Think of a tree, right? You have to have roots, but then the last thing to develop on that tree or the crown of the tree are those leaves and the fruit. So the leaves and the fruit of a narcissist is lust, anger, and pride. That's the top of the narcissist. That's just, and again, deep-rooted shame. But we all know, like when you're dealing with a plant or a tree or anything like that, what you have to do, you have to go and you have to start treating at the root. Like you see all these plants that I have right here, and sometimes I look and I see, the leaves that's growing and they may grow out yellow or something like that. And I'm like, okay, what is it that was going on with my plant? Let me see what's going on with why is this growing this way? I found out that I was overwatering the plant is what I was doing. It's like, okay, let me cut back on the water, but then also use some type of feed that I had to get to help at the root so that it's not growing out yellow or whatever, that we have a healthier plant, because I can snip at those leaves all day and all night long. But if it grows out that way, I need to check the root, right? So that's the problem. Narcissists do not want to get to the root because at that root is a deep shame that's there. And, they can go to therapy all day and all night long, right? And it can be very helpful. I will say that. However, even the best therapists can't really get at, because that is a spiritual issue. It is a spiritual problem. And unless you know how to cast out negative, I'm going to call it this, negative emotions, okay, that can trap them and trap themselves and lodge themselves in the different organs of the body, then you're just going to still have that problem, right? But the thing is, what this is about is the deception that takes place, where you have good people with healthy self-worth, healthy self-esteem, starting to believe that, well, maybe I didn't have self-love. Well, maybe I didn't love myself. Or maybe I didn't do this. Or maybe I didn't heed to the red flags. Or maybe I didn't. And no, that wasn't it. Okay? Don't start, because look, we used to say when we were kids, we always had this little game, psych your mind, psych this, psych that. You start to psych yourself out of, yourself, knowing who you are. No, you're not a person that had low self-esteem. No, you're not a person that didn't have healthy self-worth. You were deceived. You were deceived by a narcissist, and that is what they do. Okay, so I just and I gave that story, Laban, who, again, deception. Here was Jacob, good dude, put his intentions up front. Hey, I came to get a wife. I was told to come here to get a wife, right? Like my father sent me to you to get a wife. I saw one of your daughters. I want her. I love her. I love her at first sight. Want to marry her. What I got to do? You see how he put his intentions out there up front? And then Laban, he's hiding something behind the, well, I want to get rid of both of my daughters. So it worked for me. And then he give him the first one. He want to palm both of the daughters off on him. He deceived them. Okay. Good man. I mean, Jacob, good man. But Laban was deceptive. So again, everybody does not have that narrative of low self-esteem, low self-worth. That's the reason why you attracted the narcissist. No, narcissists like to use good people for whatever their purposes are. All right. So with that, we're going to end this video. I'm going to try to do as many of these as possible, at least once a week. I'm glad that it's some stuff going on downstairs, like a fair and stuff that's about to happen. So they were just playing loud music. I was like, please don't let them play this loud music while I'm recording this video. But we got through it. So I'm going to go ahead and end it before they do start playing the loud music. So until next time, peace. If you are new to this channel, of course, subscribe for more video updates. And also, if you want to book a coaching session with me, I do have some spots available for one-on-one. I'm kind of getting away from the one-on-one and doing more group coaching, but I do have now about 3 slots open for one-on-one coaching. And you can look right here, that's scrolling across, how you can go ahead and book your session. All right. So until next time, peace. Bye.